I've always known his name was Drew. Um, I found out about a year ago his last name, and it really made me laugh when it was Grubbs. I'm like, talk about really fitting for a last name, you know?
Yeah. I didn't
And
know his name was Drew. That. I was like, who's this Drew guy he's talking about? And then I was like, oh, okay.
well, yeah, and that picture just kind of dropped in my lap, and then I started running with it and going, all right, what can I find out? Because
Ooh,
everything is public record.
right. And you think that Google would have like a news report or like at least a news clipping, kind of like how like you had daily bookings and stuff like that?
Well, the funny part, you would not believe how many Andrew Grubbs there are out there in, the United States. There's a lot of them.
Really?
Oh,
Huh.
and the Grubbs in Daviess County, Kentucky, the males who have been arrested all have one thing in common:
They're related?
possession with the intent to distribute.
Oh, hey, I guess I guessed right.
I'm just saying, he's admitted before in live streams on Instagram he used to use, but in his words, one day he got tired of it and just stopped.
That's odd.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't come across as he stopped. I mean, I assumed that he was like a user or he used to be a user, but I wasn't ever going to make that comment. I've never actually seen many of his lives. He's just actually one live that I did see, and that's kind of like shortly after that is when I started watching your lives. I think was actually
Mm-hmm.
after this live. Like Ken had promoted him on his channel, and you made him mad with some questions. I think he was starting a beard company, wasn't he?
It was called Royal Flush.
Yeah, wow. This was a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then shortly after that, like when I saw him got mad, I think that's when I started actually seeing you kind of come up in my like YouTube feed. Was after that, or shortly after, like a live feed you had with Scott, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was a live with you or if you were just in the live commenting and stuff like that. But I
I
do
was
remember he
in.
got pretty agitated with you about the comment you made about you asked him like, so if you start a beard company, aren't you gonna have to kind of stop reviewing other beard companies
Yep.
too? And he was like, he got heated.
That's what turned
Was
everything off between him and I. Right then,
really?
everything off. Because how dare I come at him that way? How dare I say he can't be truthful? How dare this? How dare that?
A
And
little touchy.
then when you pull one thread, you get to other ones, like his infamous. I'm really mad that this overseas company put a packing slip on the outside of the box. They're not allowed to do that. It needs to go inside. I'm like, no. U.S. Postal Service says the customs form has to be on the outside of the box if you're getting anything from outside CONUS. And he's like, oh, you're a liar. I mail things every day overseas without, this and about that. And I'm like, whatever, Drew. Just whatever.
Did you ever try his product?
No. Here's the funny part. He claimed he made 25 combos. They sold out in 4 seconds. Nobody has talked about it. Nobody.
I didn't talk about it, but I'll admit that I bought one.
Was it any good? Because I don't know.
It, I mean, it wasn't like the smell, like it didn't have any significant, like it didn't take me back to where like, when you smell like a good, unique profile of like a beard oil or a beard butter, the scent didn't blow me away or nothing, but it didn't smell bad and it didn't like feel bad in my beard, but it wasn't like, at first I just thought he was just trying something. So I said, I bought it. I think I bought it for like 15 or $20. It was a combo, beard and butter combo, oil and butter combo.
You're
I
the
just figured I'd
only
try it, but
you're the only guy, brother, I know who's ever bought one.
and I couldn't tell you what the profile was. It's just not that memorable, I guess, because it was that long ago too.
Yeah, he only made those and never made any more. I mean, at one point I considered him a close friend, and then everything just turned. And I'm like, he's gone.
All because of that.
That right there turned everything.
Even with Ken too, is that where he stopped, like fell out with Ken too?
He's the kind of guy, and this is my feeling. You need to agree with me 100%, or you are now my enemy. You are not allowed to say I'm doing anything wrong.
Hmm.
You have to agree with me 100%.
And I'll be honest, I haven't really followed any. Like usually when people like comment or make a comment, like I don't usually go down a rabbit hole usually, but like his was kind of hard to avoid, so I stopped following him on Instagram and YouTube and all that stuff. I just stopped. I just didn't want to see it in my feed, so I just stopped. So that's where I kind of fell out of the loop. But then I kind of see you guys dropping things, but I didn't know it was him that you guys were dropping it about. So I kind of feel better about myself.
Yeah, he he's got such great potential, but he can't get out of his own way. Dude, I freely admit, I've made some classic mistakes. I really, truly have. But at least I try not to repeat them. And I don't go, it's your fault I got drunk on a live feed and did something dumb. Nope, I stand up and I went, yeah, that's why I no longer drink. If I'm going live, I'm dry that day. Period.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about that either.
I,
Is that recent?
no, a couple years ago, I got really tanked on a Saturday. And Daniel, Grindstone Grooming,
Mhm.
he was having one of his usual Saturday Night Lives way back when before he became an owner. And he put out a link, so I'm like, why not? I'm bored, I'm happy, let's have some fun. And got in the middle of his live feed and acted like a moron.
Oh, really? Yeah, I wasn't
Yep.
there for that.
Yep, I
I didn't see
apologize to
everything, but I did
everybody.
see a lot of the feats that were like. First, why don't we just kind of rewind just a little bit, and why don't you tell people who don't know you, like kind of what you're about and who you are? First of all, I mean, I know you as Chris. Obviously your handle name. That's how I know you, but like
Yeah.
you obviously have a real legal name. So if you want to give that, you can.
What? I don't hide. It's in some of my earlier videos, you know. I am Chris Fonestock. I'm currently residing in Washington State, up by the Canadian border. I mean, like 10 miles from the border. It's the TCTBNL is the company to be named later. A long, long time ago, I was doing paracord projects, and I was getting ready to start a company and everything. So I didn't know what I was going to name it, so I just went with the company to be named later. I even held like a naming contest and everything else, and everyone said keep it just like that. So I started the YouTube channel because I wanted to go to craft events and go, hey, here you go. This is, what the user wants. This is what I'm selling at a fair price and getting like their reactions and everything. But I could never really make that work. And then one day I just got in front of my iPad and reviewed a book. And that's how my channel started. Literally on an iPad reviewing a how to build a perfect bug out bag book.
And that's how you do all your reviews is on your. Well, I'm assuming you've kind of upgraded since then, right?
Yeah, my first three were done on the iPad. And that was for me, it was a real pain because you've got to be careful about the storage space you have on your iPad. You've got to go through the YouTube Studio app to upload everything. It was a real pain in the tail. So one day I just bought the legendary camera that loves to shut itself off in the middle of filming reviews and just started filming from there.
And what camera is that?
Oh, some weird little like Nikon thing. I mean,
Oh, okay. I thought
it's
you
like,
meant like a webcam or something like that.
yeah, no, it's just like a little handheld. I mean, it's
I'm always curious about like what people are using when they're doing it. So like usually when somebody kind of does that behind the scenes stuff, like I appreciate that because it's kind of like, you can make it work this way. It's not just saying it, but like, see, this is all I use. But it's still
well, like
pretty cool.
well, like for me, if you watch like a lot of my knife reviews, that camel
Mhm.
blanket is a $5 blanket from Walmart draped over my kitchen table. What I call the alternate film room. This is seriously my bedroom. I'm sitting right on my bed doing this. Or most videos when I'm in my chair, that's in my living room with a
Oh,
tripod
that's not like
right
a
in front of me.
computer room or nothing.
Nope, that's right in
I
the middle of
figured it
my
was like
living
your
room.
computer room with all your military flags on the back, isn't it?
No, I don't really have a dedicated studio. I go with what I've got, and I have to work around because I have three kids. So you've got to work around shooting footage during that time, not trying to threaten your kids and go, if you talk, something's gonna happen. And that's why I make these jokes for like spring break and Christmas break or summer vacation. I call them the hostage situation because
Oh yeah.
like you feel like you're trapped, you know?
I don't have kids, so like I can't say that I know, but I certainly have been like in relationship with people who've had kids, and like sometimes you want to rip your head out, even and they're not even yours. It's like I feel bad for that mom or whoever's taking them grocery shopping.
Oh well, when I got into this relationship, I got two. We made a third. So as I love to call it, my house is in the island of misfit toys. You know, we make it work, and my content lately has been a lot of weird food tasting with my kids, getting them involved and making them even more a part of my channel because, as they put it, they have their own names. Like my youngest, she's the cuteness factor, the middle is the
Mm-hmm.
brat, and the boy is the monkey.
And does that I just saw that you were like doing the TV dinner reviews. Is that like I haven't watched one yet. Now is that like something that you came up with or your kids?
It was okay for anybody who produces videos on the constant. You know, you've got a lot of ebbs and flows with your channel, and they tell everyone niche down. Yes, Ken, if you're watching this video, I said the dirty word, Ken. I said it. But for my channel, it's always been about what do I want to review. So if it looks weird at times, like those dinners from Gordon Ramsay, okay. You know, I saw one video from one dude that was so horrible, and he had 40,000 views. I'm like, well, why don't I try to make one? And the food ended up being good, and I'm like, well, let's go for more. You know, or when we did Snacktober with weird snacks from around the world, it was what weird stuff can I get in and have us try? You know, and it's really cute when my kids are giving their scientific feedback, you know, and they're
Because they
breaking
don't know the
down,
words yet.
yeah, when they're breaking down what they tasted and how they felt. And it's fun to do that with them and
Mm-hmm.
just have a little bit of a change because, like, when I first started, I was doing a lot of knife reviews. So you're looking at
Right.
anywhere between $20 to $100 like folding blades. That gets spendy. Six
Mm-hmm.
buck TV dinners, I get more bang for my buck.
Right.
And that's one
Now,
of those. Sorry, go ahead.
oh no, you finish you, man. This is you. I'm just hanging out with you. I'm
Yeah,
just
and
glad you took your time.
oh, dude, I'm honored to be here. Trust me. Trust me, I'm honored to be here. It's just one of those you've got to value your dollar for your return on your channel.
Well, like what you said though, like you said that how Ken wants you to narrow down on the niche, like right in your, I think it's right in your title. It says not your like general like
Yeah,
review channel, right? I mean, I mean, what's the word that you used? Not your
not your
traditional.
yeah, not your traditional YouTube channel because
Yeah, and
it's
that's,
not. I review whatever I want.
and I think it's also probably good if you have numerous different niches. Sometimes, I mean, now YouTube is weird. Like nobody's ever going to figure that out. I don't care if you're Mr. Beast or anything like that. The
Yeah,
niche thing I think can be good for if you're trying. If there's a lot of people like during COVID or whatever people want to call it, people had something that they were watching. Like the people with those niches, like that helped them out. But I
yeah,
think that people are like that are trying to maybe start a YouTube channel. People that have that like type of trend going, like people, this is how you start a YouTube channel. 100,000 tips to 100,000 views, blah 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 blah. That's going to help those people out that are wanting to start a YouTube channel. And I ran across yours on accident because I was looking. I think I was watching. What's that guy's name that has the goatee, the beard with the ponytail? Um, Jeremy Sears.
oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, I was watching him, and that's how I came across you. So it's not just necessarily your niche. Like he does everyday carry, but he also does like your what's that called? Like the whiskey barrel stuff and all that stuff.
Yep.
So like niche isn't necessarily everything. I gotta change my audio. Give me 1 second.
You guys can see you're
It's
kind
kicking
of
me out.
crackly. You good?
Sorry about that.
Yep, you're fine. Don't worry. Trust me, with my channel, I'm used to technical difficulties. So
But yeah, like I mean, I'm not gonna knock Ken because Ken knows what he's doing. Like he has, I mean, he's got great like feedback from everything that he's done, so, at least from what I could tell. But
Oh
I
yeah,
don't think niche is necessarily for everybody. Like it's hard, like with a podcast, like it's hard to have a niche really because there's no niche on YouTube for podcasting. Like, yeah, now you can add a podcast. You can't like narrow it down to just podcasting, if that makes sense.
no, and I mean it's a running joke between Ken and I. Like I pick on his Crocs all the time. I call him a Croc wearing freak. But he's been a big help to my channel because when he was doing his content creation stuff, he helped me tweak a bunch of things. And it really showed right away because the subscriber count rocketed for that month. And like you were saying, like with COVID, any person who has a channel and says COVID did not help their channel is lying to you. I gained 2,000 subscribers in 2020. Nobody had
And
anywhere
I
to
mean,
go,
yeah, that would have probably been the best time to start any type of YouTube channel.
Yeah, no one can do anything, but it's like I tell everybody, and a lot of people don't believe me, review what you want because your audience is going to connect with your passion. Just little things from when I start my video and I'm like, hey, you get that quick hey that's loud and it grabs you right away and wakes you up. And you've got to have fun with it. Like when the camera shuts off, I'm like, anybody surprised? Anybody? Anybody? You know?
Yeah,
It's
what's your line? It's hey, all you viewers to be named later. Is that right?
yep. Yep.
It's been a while since I've seen one of your knife reviews, but
Well, I haven't done one in a very long time, just simply because I haven't bought any in a long time. I mean, we call it the pile of shame, about 4 boxes sitting on my floor that I have to go through just from stuff I've already got.
so do you sell them or do you like
No, I've
do
got
you?
them. They're kind of
Oh,
an
I didn't know
invest.
if you've ever like sold your knives, like if you didn't like it or what or.
No, because a lot of people are picky. Normally when I get them in, I only save the box for the time of the review and then I toss the box. So they're
Mhm.
like, okay, so if it's $100 blade, you don't have the box, I'll give you $5. And I'm like, no, I'm good. And I
That's
see a lot
crazy.
of these as investments for my kids later on because some of these I've got from really legendary, knife makers, and some of them they're not making anymore. So you have some collectors out there who are gonna want them, and here you go.
Right. I'm surprised you don't like change your background a little bit with some shadow boxes back there with some knives in it. Get a little
Well,
crafty with it.
I also got to take into account the better half. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah, you gotta share a bedroom.
uh-huh. So it's
So what?
I tread that line carefully, brother. I tread it carefully.
I do too. I mean, I'm not. How old are you, by the way, if you don't mind me asking? I've never really like
What is it?
wondered how old you were, but I
52.
didn't. You're 52. Okay,
Yeah,
my wife is 50, and I am 36. So
good
there
for
we
you.
go.
Good for you.
I went the other way.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I've got the reverse. Mine's younger than me, but good for you.
I tried to. I tried to. I tried not to date, but like somehow we just connected at work one day, and that was it. From
I'd
there,
given
pretty
up on
much. So,
everything when I met my better
how'd you
half.
meet your wife?
YouTube. No, not YouTube. Excuse me.
For real?
Facebook. Facebook.
Well, I don't think it's much different.
Uh, the
She
situation
one of your
is
viewers to be named later, wife.
because it just runs with the company to be named later, and I really wanted how like you have Commands Corner when Dave Bearded Motivation was doing his thing. You had Motivation Nation. You have guys out there who call their viewers something, and I wanted to incorporate that in with my channel, so it strings together. And
It
like
works
on the
out.
tabletop wargaming channel, I call on my viewers to play later. I just
That's dope.
change some things up.
Hmm. So, what's your favorite? I guess type of stuff to review because you do. I mean, I've seen you do books. You've done everyday carry knives. You've done now food. I mean, and then I was curious about like when you actually first started getting into beard stuff because like I saw the picture of you like on Instagram not too long ago without a beard. Was it
Yeah,
holding
yeah.
your kid?
That was
I was like,
the
man, how long
brat.
ago was this?
Oh, 2011, I think that was.
And you've been reviewing for what, 6, 7 years?
I'll be in my 8th year in January.
So you're one of the, like, pretty much the review fathers, pretty much, like the pod father type people of beard reviewing.
But it's also funny because, like, for my channel, I did that first review. It did great, and then I took 6 months off. For some reason, I didn't do another review. I was like, this thing's so simple. I got 600 views on a book. Okay, I'll come back to it at some point. But to be honest with you, I started with men's grooming because I ran out of stuff to review at that point. And that,
even with like all your, I mean, you've got so many things that like I've seen you like talk about. Like, I don't know if this is a different view, but you've also had like action figures hanging up behind you too, right?
There's 2 right there right now. Oops.
Just the
Right
2,
there.
but normally, oh, now I can kind of see the third over your whatever shoulder that
here
is.
Are
Yeah.
like cars, and if you look up a little bit more, if I turn that camera, there's Star Wars figures and everything else.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because, well, I mean, from this view, I don't see it, but when I go to edit, it'll actually show all that stuff. So, like, that's your full review.
There goes. I moved the camera for you.
That's the view I'm used to. Okay.
Yep.
There we go. So, I mean, I don't think you necessarily ran out. You were just like, people's not going to find this pretty interesting. You could have probably reviewed every single thing on that wall.
No, it's I used to plan things out and go, I want to have like a book review this day. I want to have this here, plan out what I want to review in certain points. And then I hit a spell where I didn't buy anything for a while. So if if you watch that first men's grooming review I did, it's on a company called Whiskey, Ink, and Lace. And it starts off so bad. I'm like, I have a beard. I have beard oil. We're going to talk about beard oil today. And I'm like,
so it sounded cheesy.
Oh, God, yes.
Or what's the word everybody's using? Cringe?
Very. So thankfully, I found Dan C. And the time I found him, I had more subscribers than he did, which is something I always joke with him. I blinked and he blew right by me.
Yeah, he blew up like no other.
Oh, yeah. I found Beard Times with Scott. And when Mo the Bearded Shark was reviewing, I found him. So I took things from all 3 of them that I liked and made it into what I do. And I've given them all credit. And that's another thing for you guys who are starting a channel. It's cool to borrow stuff. Just make it your own. Don't sit there and quote that person word for word for word and everything they're doing. Make it your own. Because everybody borrows,
Right.
I mean,
I'm surprised you're like one of the first guys that I've never heard say Scuba was my first person that I saw.
Nope. I ran into Scuba later on.
Really? Was it like, so Dan was your first guy that you saw? And you've been reviewing...
Dan or Beer Times with Scott were one of the first 2 I ever saw.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah,
because I was looking back at your videos because I wanted an era of when you started, and I was like, okay, so it was about 6, 7 years ago. And when I actually started watching you, like it was, I mainly saw your name in chats and stuff like that. That's how I meet pretty much everybody that's in the content creation game. But not everybody uses their handle as their YouTube chat name. And you were one of those there for a while. You would chat with a little bit of both at sometimes, I think. I don't know if you did that like forgetting, because I think I've done that. Like you'd have your channel now and then kind of see it and then change back to Chris, because I was like, well, who's this Chris guy?
Yeah.
And then somebody was like, oh, I was like, oh, okay.
I kept them separate for a reason, because there's a lot of people who have their YouTube channel and that's it. That's the only handle that they have. I wanted the business side for TCTBNL and then just the me side. But the logo is still there, so they kind of tie them together,
Well, I think when I was like looking at it, like there was a beard company that starts with an F too, wasn't it? It was Ferocious Beards or something like that, or
down in Texas,
I think I was mixing those 2 up. Like when I first saw your last name, and I was like, is this the owner of Ferocious Beards or something like that? Because it's so long, I wasn't actually putting 2 and 2 together.
If you literally break down the meaning of my last name, it stands for flagpole.
Better than something else.
Mm-hmm. That's why I always make that joke. Like, there's one of me in every town in the world. A flagpole.
One of you in every town in the world. Okay, I got it now. I did have a question for you. Did you ever have the Flying Beardsman on your channel? Or was
No,
it vice versa? Did he have you?
no, I wanted to. We could just never make timing work.
I really miss his content.
And oh God, how can I put it? He was affiliated with a bad person. We had the My Motivation Way crap going on. And I just backed off of inviting a lot of people on the show because it seemed like whoever I tried to talk to get them on a show, they got attacked. And I got really tired of that. I literally got tired of that. So
I just wasn't sure if like I saw you on his or on Scott's, and that's why I was wondering, because I was like, I could have sworn that maybe you were just in the chats and stuff like that.
I've been on Scott's.
Yeah, I know that. You've been on there probably 2-3 times.
Yeah.
At least.
Twice that I remember. There may be a third, but there's twice that I remember.
Right. I mean, and I just couldn't kind of, I usually when I ask somebody to be on here, I'm usually like, all right, so where did I meet this person? And usually it can pop right in my head. I've usually got a great memory. Now, one thing I do remember from joining your live, I think you were one of my first winnings that I ever, like the first live giveaways that I won was on your channel. I won on Dan's, but like, I don't remember if yours was before his or not. But I remember the beard oil and the beard company, and it was LaFleur Beards, and it was
the
the name
Gary LaFleur.
Dimitri. Is that what it was?
Yeah, the Dimitri's a good one. It really is. I like that one.
And it was the 2-ounce bottles. I like the wax thing of it and all that stuff. But that's how that was the first live I ever joined of yours that you hosted.
Sweet.
So that was pretty cool. I will remember that, but I don't remember where I actually saw your name first. That was the difficult part.
I am getting back into inviting people on in the new year simply because I want to have more fun. You know? It's one thing to be able to sit here with you and have this great conversation and have it flow and do everything. But when you're by yourself, you're depending on the chat to help move things forward. And while that's been a lot of fun and got me out of my comfort zone, I really love the back and forth that I have. And what really impacted that into my head was the one I did recently with Johnny Slicks at like 9 a.m, my time. And it's like telling my better half, when a multimillionaire says, I'm giving you this time, you take that time and you make it work,
Yeah. Now, like with like you said, like you like that almost pretty much that banter back and forth, and I think that's why I prefer this versus like live streaming. I think live streaming is great, but like I could see how it would be difficult to have a great conversation with you, but also kind of worry about the chat and let them chime in. That's why I think that this is a little bit also important, because I like to have that more one-on-one thing to where I'm not worried about what other people are asking. I'm not worried about like, are they gonna say something to where somebody gets upset? I don't care if they whatever they say, because all I have to do is ignore it. But what I'm saying is like, I don't want that to take away from who I'm talking to. I don't want them to feel uncomfortable. That's why I always try to work around their time and not my time, because I'm taking your time.
I mean, and like when you asked me to come on, I was like, whenever you need me, I'm there.
Because and I was kind of like, okay, well, that was the easiest yes that I've ever gotten, I think. So, I mean, I've had people just say yes, but
it's an honor, Somebody wants you. Somebody wants your story. Somebody wants your time, your words, and it's like I tell my kids, you get that chance, go for it.
And I'm not a huge channel by any means, but I just started putting these on YouTube. I never put all my first ones on YouTube. They were all just audio. And my buddies, they were just like, hey, when I started the Chubby Buddies podcast, like they were like, hey, why don't we put everything on YouTube? So I was just like, okay, I'll try it. And, I mean, I do all the editing and stuff like that, but I have no problem. I had a lot of roadblocks to learn all that editing and all that type of stuff, but I got no problem with that. But like my issue is like, then I got to get a nice camera. Then you got to get all this other stuff. But you really don't. And I learned that pretty quick. And I just got this one camera for Christmas. I think I've bought like 3 or 4 different webcams that I didn't like, and I was just like, this isn't going to work. But this webcam, like, I don't know how my like view looks to you, but like right now, like it might look a little like grainy or something like that. But when we go to edit, like it's actually going to show all that. We're just doing this all live, so it's doing it slowly, so it catches everything. That's how this system runs. So I
See, for me,
appreciate that.
when I first was doing my lives, it was like a bad 80s Max Headroom because of the lag and everything else.
Oh yeah.
So it's no big deal to me, you know? And I like that point you said a moment ago, and I'm kind of shred you on it. When you said you're not a big channel, well, no channel's really a big channel in the drop of a bucket of YouTube. Anybody who wants you to come on, if you have 2 subscribers or 2 billion, it's an honor because you should do it, you know? And that's something else for all you guys watching this.
And that's why I mean I want everybody's perspective and people that one. I'm not saying that I invited you on here because you asked me to come on your channel, and that was not it. It's because I find interest in a little bit of everybody's content. So whether or not I've watched 100 of your videos, 5 of your videos, 3,000 of your videos, there's something you can take from every creator, whether they're good, bad, mediocre at best, whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody has their thing that somebody's watching. Like you had this one guy that my stepson showed me, and I was like, why would you watch this? And then I was like, oh, okay, everybody's taking something from that creator, whether or not they're good at what they're doing or not. But this guy makes wands. I don't know if you've ever heard, he's from like Wyoming or something like that. He makes wands and he's like a cuckoo, like wacko. It was nuts. But I watched for 30 minutes, didn't want to, but he still locked me in. There's something about a content creator that a little bit of everybody enjoys, whether or not they like necessarily the content or the person, but there's something that you can take away from pretty much anybody that you see on YouTube.
I went down a rabbit hole last night with body cam footage for sovereign citizens in court. And I have never laughed so hard in my life. Or just sovereign citizens dealing with the police.
Oh, so they're like videotaping their interaction with the police. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm like,
I was like, what?
Huh?
I thought you meant in court. I thought you meant in court. I was like,
yeah,
what?
Some of them, you get like the court footage with the sovereign citizens talking to the judge. And I'm like, you can't really believe what you're saying right now, right? You just can't do that. And I had made
I've seen a video like that too with like people who Grubhub or whatever that you go pick up their food and then drop it off at their house.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
There's one guy that videotapes every interaction that he goes into, like in a McDonald's or something like that. There's always somebody yelling at one of the people working. It's wild.
And I mean, I even made a point. I went out on Amazon and found a sovereign citizen license plate. So, because I have a great relationship with my local police department, I'm going to go down. We're going to shoot a video about the idiocies of thinking a license plate you bought on Amazon makes you exempt from United States law.
People, that's one thing I could say that probably the one thing you can take away from those type of content creators, and I'll call them content creators because they're getting views, is that don't do this. And what's sad was I thought you were in Oregon. So I was going to ask you when I was on your show. I was like, how bad is it really up there? Like, you're not far away from it, are you? I mean, you're across the state, but like it's still one state below you.
Yeah. I'm going to put it like this. I have a running joke in my house. I'm glad I'm going to die soon because I can't stand Washington law. You know, if you misgender somebody, it's like a felony offense up here. You know, if you use a wrong pronoun, everybody loses their mind. You know, the other day at the bus stop, I heard a kid go, "I'm so triggered." I'm like, "You're 6. Shut up."
Every kid's triggered.
Yeah, but it's the insanity that's up here. Our governor just outlawed the sale of gas-powered leaf blowers.
Oh,
you
God.
can get a criminal charge for using a gas-powered leaf blower.
In Washington State.
Yep. Because we're going green.
I've got my own beliefs about that, but we'll move on away from that so I don't get demonetized before I can get monetized.
Hey, come to my local Walmart. They don't have bags.
Oh, like grocery bag. Yeah, a lot of the one thing that that pisses me off are those paper straws, man. Paper straws piss me off.
Wrapped in plastic. Paper straws wrapped in plastic.
Wrapped in plastic, or like more paper that you can't, like, every time that you try to get it open, it breaks the straw.
Yes.
I refused to allow my wife to. She tried to buy these paper straws, and I threw them away. She went to the Dollar Tree, and she was going to put them together, and I threw them away because I thought that they were real straws, and I tried to open one, and I broke it, and I threw it away because I realized what it was, and I didn't realize what she was going to do with it. And I said, they're not allowed in this house. Like, I refuse to drink out of a paper straw. If I want to drink out of a straw, I'll just use one of our reusable ones that we have in this plethora of useless crap in this drawer.
I couldn't resist. Like, I went to Walmart and they have like the plastic straws on the shelf. So I had to take a picture and post it to Instagram going, oh my God, they're selling these death machines over the counter.
You need a prescription.
Right?
And that's another thing. I was kind of curious about, like, I don't know if this is like maybe something that you didn't want to go down that rabbit hole on YouTube because of the negativity that it brings is like gun reviews. I'm not sure if you're into that type of stuff, but like usually when you see EDC people, like a lot of them usually try to stay away from saying the word gun.
Because YouTube has such draconian policies about a firearm. It's not even funny. My good friend, oh dear Lord, Courier 6 is what he's calling himself now in my chat. He's got a gun channel. He tried doing a live to talk about a bad customer service thing. YouTube shut him down 5 times.
Because of the word gun.
Yep.
Wow. And you got Jeremy Sears over here just like designing like concealed carry rooms and stuff like that. I think it also probably has the number you got too. Number of followers.
There's been channels like Donut Operator. He breaks down police body cam footage.
Mm-hmm.
He's been demonetized a lot because of the bang. When the cops are depressing the trigger and the big bang that goes off. So now he has to have a duck quacking to cover up the bangs. Which makes it even more funny when you see the cops having to fire on somebody and you're hearing
He should change the noise every single time, like a fart, a burp, or whatever.
Yeah,
or
but that's
have like a Karen screaming out of like her mouth, like the annoying Karens out there.
But that's why I love firearms. I'm a strong, 2A supporter. But that's why I don't put them anywhere near my channel. I just don't want.
And I totally get that. I was just curious if that was even something like, and I don't know the laws in Washington. I mean, I would never move there, but I also haven't been farther west than Colorado. So
don't ever come to Washington. Great scenery. I won't lie. There's some great scenery. Just stupid politicians.
And that's why I thought you lived in Oregon. I was wondering like how close you were to all the rioting and all that stuff.
I did for a very, very long time.
By choice?
Yeah. Well, kinda. When I got out of the military in 95, I really wanted to reconnect with my dad, and he lived in Oregon. So that's why I moved out there. And this is going to sound so bad, but it's the God's honest truth. Being a single dude, making pretty good money in Oregon, they have the most microbreweries and most adult-oriented businesses in the continental United States. In Oregon, specifically Portland, has more strip clubs than Las Vegas.
And Las Vegas, well, I guess not Las Vegas, but like that area,
that area out
prostitution.
There. Yep.
Reno or whatever it's called. That's wild.
So it was fun. And when I decided to grow up, it was not a good area for me to be in. So thankfully,
I don't think it's a good area for anybody to be in.
Kind of found my better half. And I really say this, and a lot of people doubt me because I pick on my kids. My children saved my life. They gave me a different direction to go. And I know I'm going to catch flack for this, but I don't care. I firmly believe when the good Lord said, okay, you got your life in order, I got Brianna.
You shouldn't get slack from it, especially on here. Like one of the guys, I don't know if you've watched any episodes of the Chubby Buddies, but one of my best friends is a youth pastor. And he's one of the guys he's one of the other hosts that are of that channel, but no slack here. I mean, I planned on going to school to be a youth minister. That was my original first goal, and I wanted to stay away from the prison by all means. And not because I hated my dad or anything like that, but I just didn't want that to be tied with me, because somebody told me a long time ago that, like, if you say that you want to get out of town, usually you're going to stay in town and then end up working at the prison. And I was kind of like, nah, not me. But hey, you know what? I didn't stay here, but I ended up coming back.
I remember that.
There's nothing wrong with, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the prison at all, but like, I would say that it has way more blessings than it had like disadvantages by many, for many reasons. And one of those reasons is that I developed a better relationship with my dad. But
It's
so,
like people.
I mean, just like you, I mean, you wanted to develop a relationship, and it moved you to move closer to him. So,
Yeah, it's like people attack the military for certain stuff, but I've always said it's the best, worst job I've ever had. If I could do it all over again at a younger age, I would. You know?
and you were in the Army, right?
Yep. I joined when I was
And you
17. I served 8 years. And the biggest mistake I think I made in my life was I got out after that time was done.
did you get out because you were like, I served my time and I'm done, or
I'm trying to think how to phrase this. When I had to sit through an 8-hour block of instruction on alternate lifestyle reality training, we're here, we're queer, but you can't ask us about it because you will get in trouble. I knew it was time to go because I knew my mouth, I knew I would lose rank, I would lose money, and I didn't want anything dishonorable, you know? So it was like,
right?
okay, I don't think I'm at that maturity level where I can handle all this. It's time to go find employment elsewhere.
So what did you do I mean, I'm sure that you've said this 100 times, but I've not watched all of your live feeds. But like, what was your job in the Army?
Uh, Way back when like personal computers and everything were getting big, I was what was classified as a computer machine operator. Basically, I sat around a mainframe room and just made sure the tapes got switched.
That's not
Seriously.
bad. So I mean, did any of that come over into content creation for you?
No.
No. Well, I guess you
I,
don't learn
I
everything in the military.
the only thing that really brought it over was the discipline to sit and grind it out and do things and make that plan and carry that plan forward. I mean, the one thing filming on an iPad will teach you how to do, one cut. First try, you get it going. I felt spoiled when I got to the camera, but then I had to remind myself this is the camera that shut itself off. The first time it ever did it was when I was reviewing Hillary Clinton's book, like she did on her campaign way back when. And I was like, my camera's
Mhm.
trying to stop me from getting suicided, you know?
Hey, I'll be honest with you. Your book reviews, like, I don't think I've seen one of the book. I saw your How to Survive, one of the survival books I think
Yeah.
you did. I did watch one of those. I was not a big reader. Okay, I hated reading with a passion. It's not that I couldn't read, obviously. I mean, I know words. My word choices aren't necessarily all the best, but
I
I
feel you,
think
brother. I feel
age
you.
has so much to do with like the way that you I guess grasp what's in a book, because I can't get into the whole mythical stuff. I've never been that type of person, but like I've read probably more books in a year than I ever did in my entire life of high school, or any school grade rather. So I mean, books. Whether you like Hillary Clinton, whether you like her husband, whether you like any of those other politicians that are out there, like I think any book will actually kind of raise your word vocabulary a little bit.
What I found funny, speaking of books, one of my most successful videos was about Charles Falco. Do you know who that is?
Charles Falco. I've
He's the
heard the name.
guy who went undercover inside the Vagos and the Mongols and basically helped take down two biker gangs. He was a meth cooker,
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Okay.
and he wrote about his experience. So I've talked to so many weird people about that review who have left comments. I think it's almost approaching 100,000 views for a
Jeez.
book review.
Give me one second. My audio's doing it again.
Yeah, I mean, like every time A&E replays that Gangland Undercover series they did, the views go up big time. My most successful, like right over a weekend, was Omarosa's book. It hit 3,000 views over a weekend. And at that time, I was going, man, I wish I was monetized. That's the most viral thing I'd ever
Yeah,
done on a weekend.
and it was just a book. Like
It was her
now,
experience in the White House with Trump.
with your like when you take a book and you read it, do you try to actually sit down and read the whole thing, or do you put it down and maybe possibly read another bit? Because that's what I found difficult, was to keep my interest. I kind of have to jump around to a couple books.
See, for me, with that book, I'll fit it into my day. So if I have 10 minutes, I'll pick it up, read it for 10 minutes, and then carry on, and then come back to it. But one of the big things that I love to do for reviews, I know you've seen where I put like little marks, throughout the book, because there's
Right.
something right there that's not making any sense. And I want to bring that up and go, huh? Like with,
Was there a lot in Hillary's?
oh God, yes. Yes. I, God bless her. That's all I'm going to say. God bless her heart. Whatever. I, it was exactly what I expected it to be. It was everybody else's fault but mine.
That was thick too. No, that was her husband. The book that he wrote, that was thick.
I
That was a big book.
I didn't read that one, but I did read the Ken Starr Report many years ago. So
Well, I've never read his book either, but the first thing I see when I walk into my grandfather's house is like this Bill Clinton book, and it's like thicker than a Bible.
you got to give the man credit. I mean, you really do. From where he came from to where he got to, love him or hate him, whatever, he was the president. You know,
Yeah.
I
What's
just,
bizarre is that like I can remember when he got elected, but like when you look back at all of his, I guess trials in life is what we can call them now, but
yeah,
he gets no slack for it. But yet, like other people that did anything bad as a president, or they think was bad as a president, like they're still talking about it. It's worse than it's worse than a bad rumor, really. I mean, whether it was right or wrong, but like everybody makes the joke, but it's funny when you make the joke about Clinton. That's just how it is.
it's that 6 in one, half dozen in the other. Like not trying to go political, but like,
Oh
what
no,
if it had
I've got
been
no.
Donald Trump Jr. being accused of what Hunter Biden's being accused of?
Oh,
The
we'd
whole
be.
nation would be on fire. But now the spin is, well, Joe just loves his son.
Or he would refer to, I love my dog. Or son. Do you watch a lot of the content about people like commenting on like his stuff? Like, did you watch the clip of the guy, this Secret Service agent was directing him, and like you had the guy doing a voiceover, like he was landing a plane or whatever, and he was
Yeah.
guiding him towards him, and he's like, "Oh no!" He goes, "The eagle has landed," and then he's like, "Oh, he's taking off again." And he kept walking straight, even though the Secret Service guy was pointing to his right.
I
I'll have to send
try.
that one to you.
Yeah, I try. God, how can I put it? I try to avoid a lot of political stuff because I know the nation is supercharged on things. And there's some things I look at and I go, how can you not see what's happening? How are you putting this spin on here that this person, Hunter, has done some really creepy things, but it's okay. I'm like, no, how is he this uber successful artist right up there with Picasso? Hunter's
Wasn't
paintings are selling for millions.
the name, not the painting, the name.
Thank you. He settled a child support case with paintings. I'm like, if I'd owed that money that he owed, I'd be buried under the jail.
He needs to write a book.
I just. But that's why I love election season so much. All these celebrities coming out and going, if Donald Trump
I'm
wins,
moving to Canada.
yeah, we're leaving the United States. Bye. Don't care.
And it's the ones that surprise me more, like when they say that, like whether or not like I want this person to be president, like there's nothing that's going to get me to say, oh, I'm going to quit my job and move to another country. Like it's not going to be any better there. I don't know where you're getting at. Like Canada's going to be any better.
My first thought was, must be nice to have that kind of disposable income to uproot everything and move and go,
Right.
oi, hey, I'm a Canadian now, eh?
And that's the thing. I don't watch the politics for any interest at all. I watch the humor side of things. The people that I watch like the reaction videos of I watch Ben Shapiro like reacting to people like
Love
talking
him.
about certain people,
I love Ben.
and
Love him.
it's stand up comedy, or it's just comedy for me. I mean, that's if you go to my personal YouTube channel, like it'll be hard not to run into anything comedy. Like your every other video is going to be something comedy related. So if it's politics, the way that I always I told Ken when I was on his live a couple weeks ago, I told him he told me that he's not into politics. Like I didn't bring it up, he didn't bring it up, and something got brought up kind of like this, and I was like, I've got no problem talking about politics if that ever does come up. It's not the fact that I have a problem talking about it, but if I can get along with you and I can tell and I can't tell who you would be voting for, then that's where we need to be. I shouldn't need to try to buoy around any type of your thoughts or feelings based upon how you vote or what your beliefs are, what your beliefs are not, whatever they are. If I can get along with you because you have the same interests as me, or you like comedy, or you like certain movies, or whatever, that's fine. And if you vote for a different person than I feel needs to be in office, that's fine too. I don't care. But don't tell me that I'm wrong by the way that I think that things should go. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. That's the only thing I see terrible with the way politics go. And that's why Dan doesn't talk about them on his channel. So I totally agree that if it's not a good topic to talk about with you personally, then don't talk about it. But if you want to talk about it, but be open to what other people believe, because not everybody's right. They're going to swing you away to get your vote. That's the whole idea about a presidential election. Whether or not you like them or you love them, whatever.
What was it?
If I can't tell how you vote, then I've done my job.
Yeah, what was it Robin Williams said in that movie where he was a comedian running for president? Go vote for your favorite
I love
hire.
that movie. I love that movie. That's
when he said,
shoot. That's gonna bug me now.
Yeah, but you know the one I'm talking about.
Oh, I love that movie. I love Robin Williams.
Oh, who does? I mean, no offense, who doesn't?
Man, that's gonna bug me. Man of the year. Man of the year.
Boom. Where the computer error made him, president.
Yeah. The best character in that movie was Lewis Black. His I think it was his advisor or something like that, or his writer
campaign manager or something like that. Yeah.
Well, his campaign manager was Christopher Walken.
Oh, that's right. Right.
And then I don't remember what Lewis Black's character was, but he had some you learned so much in that movie without realizing it. But there's so many what's the not a poet. He has a ton of quotes. So Lewis Black would quote him throughout that whole movie, but a lot of his quotes make a ton of sense when it comes to politics. But the one thing that got brought up that I kind of went down the rabbit hole to look at was when he said, who was it that was after Kennedy? When he got assassinated, who took over? Lyndon B. Johnson.
Right?
Yeah, Lyndon B. Johnson. He said that I'm going to claim that he slept with farm animals, and he goes, but he didn't sleep with farm animals. He goes, I know, but wouldn't you like to see him deny it? That is comedy. It's okay for comedy. I mean, now is he going to say it in public eye or on Twitter? No, he's probably not. But and that's where
it's one of those things. And I know you being in the prison system, you may be able to understand this. In the military, you basically got taught you've got to be able to laugh at the dark, because if you can't, it will overtake you. One of my favorite comedians on the planet is Christopher Titus. And if you look at his upbringing, his mom was in Mensa, but she was schizophrenic and bipolar and had all kinds of weird things going on. And she was in and out of mental institutions. And as he loves to put it, his dad, well, there was never a picture of him anywhere not holding a beer. So it's when you watch the stuff going on, because his dad was like a real hard ass, but I get it. It's how he was raised back then. It was the times, and how he can take all that, spin it into comedy. It's like with my kids. when they mess something up, I always tell them, if you're going to make me laugh over what you did, you're not getting in trouble.
Yeah.
You know?
I love reading those like homework assignments that like kids, if they don't know the answer, they put like the answer technically would be right if like you know what I'm talking about. Like they'll have like a meme of like it was like a word question the kid will write out. She had 0 because blah 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 blah. That is, if that was my kid, I'd probably high five him. But
well, okay. The monkey growing up had some speech impediments, and he was trying to use the word penis, but it sounded like peanuts. So I taught him tallywhacker. Okay. So we're in the car coming back from the store, and he goes, "Dad, you're a tallywhacker." And my better half looks at me and she goes, Are you going to correct that? I'm like, no. And she's like, why? I'm like, number one, he used it correctly. Number two, he used it in a sentence. And number three, I'm proud of the boy. And she's like,
I thought
well,
you were going to tell me he used it at school.
No. And she's like, well, what happens when the school calls? I'm like, I will take full credit.
Tallywhacker. I've heard that forever.
Yeah, but it's different words giving him different ways to go, and being able to laugh at something like that. The way I was raised, if I turned around and called my dad a dick, I'd be spitting teeth,
Oh, yeah.
But
and there's nothing. Kids are like, that's one thing I would give kids. It's not that I like hate kids by any means. I just never wanted kids. I think kids are probably the. Do you watch Theo Von stand up ever?
Every so often, yes.
Okay, or not even his stand up, just his one-on-one conversations with people. When I think of kids, I think of Theo Von's mind. Theo Von's mind never left that kid mentality, so everything he says is just some of the funniest shit. Without trying to be funny, these kids are they're creating comedy right in front of you. So if you aren't like writing this down, then like you're losing out on possible like content on YouTube or something. Because
why do you think I have my step-parent vlogs? Some of the stuff that goes on in my house?
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Like some of these people that have like some of the like quick-witted kids, it's like, why aren't you creating stuff like with your phone? Like most of you, I mean, I know none of them are Amish because you have Facebook and you're posting about it. You should have created a video about this.
Oh, we've got one that I'm going to be talking about soon. You know those little Google Dots, like the Amazon Alexas, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Well, we have one downstairs. It helps with setting timers and everything and random questions. My son was preheating the oven the other night for Tostino pizza rolls. My kids love them. Boom, no problem. So the oven did the beep to let you know the preheat was done. And my son goes, "Stop." I'm like,
oh, because he thought it was the dot.
I'm like, do we have to have a remedial class what an alarm sounds like and what the oven sounds like?
That's like a dog hearing a horn on the TV and go and start barking. Jeez. But no, kids are comedy. Like that's really what they're there for. Is like, in my opinion, it's good comedy.
My kids are amazing.
Granted, you have to love them and show them the right way about going about it. But if they never lose that type of like mindset, and as long as you allow them to have that mindset, they are going to do great things. Like Theo Von, he was a guy that was never told not to stop thinking the way that he thinks, and I think that's awesome. I appreciate every word that comes out of that man's mouth.
You got to challenge them, even like with content creation. You got to challenge yourself. And this is my biggest secret that I tell everybody. Every video you do, make it like you're pursuing your first subscriber. Because I remember that feeling when you had that first person who wasn't family or a friend subscribe to you. I remember that feeling when a company owner or a knife designer comments on my videos. It's like, wow, you took the time out to watch my video. You've got to keep that mindset of enjoy it, have fun. And that's what I challenge my kids all the time. Like this morning we were playing God of War Ragnarok, the Valhalla DLC. I ended up dying in it. And my daughter, without even missing a beat, doesn't look up from her tablet. She's like, way to go, Nimrod.
See, nobody knows what Nimrod is. I used to say Nimrod all the time. And everybody's like, where'd you get that word? I was like, well, I mean, I heard it in a Bible story a long time ago, but I like the word. It's fun to say.
But here's the cuteness factor giving me crap for dying in a video game. You know,
quick-wittedness, man.
Oh, the cuteness factor is sharp. Dude, I pity whoever's going to try to date her. I really do.
I appreciate like the people who can just come off with stuff, and that's why I think I like the negative comments that I've read. Like, I don't think I've had one bad negative comment on my video because we don't have that type of interaction with people, and that's really what I'm trying to work on. But like, I love a good negative comment because it lets me kind of think about like, how would I use this at work or in daily life? Like, I think it's great. I think it's like, you gotta come up with something. I mean, whether or not you get the last word or not, that's fine. But as long as you don't like show you're upset or show your like, I guess, show your attitude at that point, then you've shut that person down. Like, just like Dan does, he kills them with kindness. But like, I would do it in a smirkier way. I mean, I'm gonna say something to where they kind of have to think about it. They're like, oh, I got it now. Ah, damn it, it's too late.
See, my all-time favorite one, well, actually two of them. Normally I shut it down with, hey, thanks for watching. Give them a thumbs up. You know, because I got your view time, I got your interaction, I got whatever. One that killed me was like on the Omarosa book. I swear to God, it came from a 5-year-old. I was called a penis-headed cracker.
Penis-headed cracker? Were you bald at the time?
And I was like, how old are you? Does your mom know you're actually on YouTube?
You should have changed your name for a day.
Nah. And the other one that killed me, someone called me a low-budget Kevin Smith. And I responded back, self-made, can do whatever he wants, highly successful, lives a great life.
What's wrong with that?
I'll take it.
Kevin Smith is awesome.
Thank you.
Was he like? Do you think he was actually trying to talk crap, or do you think he was like?
Yeah.
I mean, you're like, dude, I love Kevin Smith.
Because the negative comments seem to come in waves. I'm gotten used to whoever I call him my most dedicated viewer is now. Every single video I get a thumbs down. Even live feeds before they've even gone live.
Oh, you can see it now? You can see
go
it if you get a thumbs down?
Go into YouTube Studio, and you go to the far right. It will show you, like, how many people likes it. If you go a little bit further, it's going to show you, like, a total percentage or whatever. So it will show you, like, you got 17 likes and 1 thumbs down. But every single video, I get a thumbs down. And I'm like, you are a fan. You think you're hurting me, but you're giving me an interaction. You're giving me your time. Thank you.
Have you ever been curious if it's like one of I haven't been on one of his lives in a while. The commission. Who is it? Do you think it's him messing with you? The one that runs the commission?
Jersey Joe? No.
Like I could just see him like, or not even him, but also the other cat that he does it with. No. I could see him doing it before Jersey Joe. Just out of goofs.
My opinion is it's one of the My Motivation Way crowd. Still letting me know they're out there and they're hating, and I don't care. I really, really don't care.
How was Dave doing by the way? Have you heard from him or
like Motivation Way or Dan Beard of the North?
Dave. Sorry, I said Dan and then I meant Dave, but that was my fault.
Last thing with Dave, he's doing pretty good. He's enjoying life. You know, he's got himself a great job. From what I understand, him and Gary Lewis have a new podcast or something coming out in January. So, wish them all the luck in the world.
It's a new show completely?
Yep. They killed Unapologetically G-Lou. Or Unapologetically Live.
Oh, I didn't know that. I mean, it's hard, like, when you're doing the content thing, it's hard to keep up with everybody, by all means. But, like, if they're not showing up on my feed, and then if I'm on this channel's feed or whatever, then I'm not necessarily getting the notifications, so... Yeah, so I was just curious.
I try to make the rounds and keep up with certain people.
Yeah,
but it's
how much time do you have, by the way? I'm sorry, I don't want to take too much.
I got as much as long as you need. Because as soon as we're
there's
done,
no time. I just had a couple more questions just about your content stuff, like maybe your path that you go. Like if you want to do a knife review, like how do you go about doing that? That's really kind of what is kind of going to go down here a little bit.
okay. So what I do for those, number one, I really want something interesting about that blade. Like, I know this is going to seem like a setup, but it's not. When K-Bar came out with its wrench blade,
I like that.
I wanted it just because it looked like it looked like it was hammered out of a wrench. So it's got to have something that has some kind of value to me, like just the interesting factor. So I'll get it in, I'll carry it for a while, and then I will go and I actually learned this from the channel Ultimate Survival Tips. I usually have like show notes, and that's kind of like a ripped up thing because I've been using it for cut tests.
The ones that you use to test on.
Yeah. I will sit there and I will write every single stat about that blade. Like length, width, cutting length, everything. You know, the material it's made out of. The three main areas where people usually go to find blades, I will list that price on that day, because the one thing that aggravates the crap out of me, if I release a blade review from 5 years ago, I'm getting comments nowadays of people going, I found it for this price. Wonderful. It says in the video I'm filming on this day, so that's what it cost me at that point, you know? I get all those stats, and in the beginning, my blade reviews were only 3 or 4 minutes long because I just banged out the stats showing the blade, and then people were like, dude, do some cut tests. Then I had to think and go, okay. One of the biggest things I did not want to do is be like other channels. You can go watch some really successful channels like Prepared Mind 101, where they'll take the blades out in the middle of the woods and beat the holy bejesus out of them. I don't have sponsors. I'm not getting knives donated to my channel. Everything I get, I buy. So, like the one from Skull Crusher, the one, matter of fact, you helped me make that little promo thing for, the big huge blade. Yeah, that one. That was $350. Do you really think I want to go to my better half and go, I just broke this blade?
Wasn't that from the Punisher?
That was one of them.
Was that the one from?
Yeah, that was the one you did, the Punisher.
Oh, okay.
But I had done a Skull Crusher one, and that was $350 for the big one. So if I go to her and go, hey, look, I just broke this blade, she's going to take that blade and embed it in my forehead. You know, the unbroke part. So I had to come up with something different. And this is where I've always done this thing from. I don't have a lot of money to spend on blades, so it's got to have something for it. What would a common person do? Paper, paracord, and Mr. Ratchet Strap, who got his name later on. Just one day, I think I had a hangover, and I was like, all right, we're going to cut up Mr. Ratchet Strap. And boom, the first character on my channel was born, Mr. Ratchet Strap.
Yeah, so, I was curious about like how you like chose your blade. So
it's got to have something.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah, it's got to have something different. Like one of my favorite
different style, maybe.
Yeah, one of my favorite fixed blades that I carry is from Spartan Blades. So one of the guys who created the company is a former Green Beret. So if you've got a veteran-owned company, I'm instantly going to come looking for your gear. If there's a backstory to the blade, I'm definitely coming. Like if you check out my playlist on the Forged by War series, every single blade in there is made by a veteran or a tool, because there is something in there for EMTs. It's a quick cutting tool for clothes and everything.
Right. Yep.
And there's a huge portion of each sale that goes to a veteran charity. So I definitely want to grab that and do something to highlight that. You know,
is that the one made by, who is it made by again?
CRKT. Does Forged by War
series. I saw the one that
series.
Leatherman just made for the EMTs with the scissors and stuff like that on it.
Yeah, I've got one of those in the pile of shame, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Our prison actually just started carrying them for our responders and stuff like that. It's got like obviously the sheets and other stuff off of people, but
yeah, it's just the blade's got to have something, or I don't know. Sometimes I've taken a weird chance, like when K-Bar did their first folding blade. I bought it because it was their first. You know, If it looks cool, the rule of cool. If it looks cool, go get it. I don't care what anybody else says. I like it, so I'm buying it.
Do you like Damascus, or is that like a more of a trendy thing for everybody? Says Damascus says like, oh, it's the hardest one to damage. Blah 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 blah. I just didn't know if you were like a fan of it. I think it's more of a looks thing rather than necessarily quality.
So for me, Damascus is basically you're taking a high nickel steel and very high carbon steel, and you're building them together and forging them down and doing whatever, and creating neat little patterns. For me, that's the neat part. We have lost the ability to make true Damascus from way, way, way back when. We've lost it. Can't do it anymore. I like the patterns you can make. I like the things that people are coming up with. But at the end of the day, it's just a big high carbon steel that looks pretty. So I do like it. I suck at trying to get it going good because I've been doing some blacksmithing for a little bit. It's neat. The patterns that some people come up with are just unbelievable.
I just didn't know if it was like a quality thing for when you hear somebody say, "Oh, it's Damascus." Like that's almost like somebody saying, "Like, oh, that's the high end of like it's a Gucci bag." But like when
That's the catch, is that it registers in your brain. You know,
I mean,
it's
it is a cool looking blade. Like it's a
yeah.
cool the way that the metal goes, and then if you add like other stuff into it, like you can get like certain different like designs going to it. Like
Mhm.
the guy that I've told you about, I think he adds a yellow mustard to some of his blades, to where he gets this sort of design going or
Yeah, it
flow going
makes a
down the
great
blade.
patina and whatnot. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I just appreciate the way that like just like the blacksmithing side of things. I was hoping that I am hoping that the guy that my wife got me a knife that a friend of mine actually made, and I think I've told you about him.
Yeah,
Garrett Knives.
I think you even sent me
I'm hoping that
links.
he kind of goes down that whole like education base, kind of like how Dan does with the products and stuff like that. He's one of the smartest guys I've ever met. Like he does metal test or blade testing, like where he shows like the angle of the sparks and stuff like that on a grinding wheel.
Right, right.
And I find that so amusing. Like if a lot of people like I don't see that on YouTube a lot. I also probably don't have it in my algorithm either. So but the way that he talks about it, he's just really good at talking and to where it makes sense and it's interesting to me. Kind of like Neil deGrasse Tyson. I could care less about space, but Neil deGrasse Tyson just locks me in. Like there's just something about his voice, everything about it.
See, that's the sign of a pro, and it ties right into content creation. If you go back and you look at my very first video, that book, okay, it's my very first one. Military. I'm like, my name is Chris. I am the president of TCTBNL. Giving bullet points and talking just like this. That first video, they should show it to war criminals in Gitmo, because they will confess to everything. Just don't make me watch that again. It's the great guys can make a very complicated task look incredibly simple. And the way they describe it, they're not talking to you like you're a toddler eating paste. They're talking to you like you're sitting there at the bar and you're having a great conversation. For miniature painting, there's Chris Peach. He used to work for one of the greatest miniature wargaming companies in the world. Decided to move on. He's doing his own thing now. But when he does his videos, he's the first person I ever heard, period, in any video go, if you made a little mistake, no problem, just tidy it up right now.
It's like Bob Ross.
Because when Bob Ross paints, you get sucked in because he's got the chill background music. He's got that voice that you're like, oh, old person talking.
I could still watch him today. Like I haven't seen the movie yet, but I plan to, with Owen Wilson playing Bob Ross.
That'll be interesting.
It looks promising.
But yeah, it's all about that voice and that delivery. And that's why, like I said, in all my videos, that first I want to hit hard and then slip into who I am, because I actually had one of my first 100 subscribers tell me, dude, bring more of you out. We want to see more of you. And my channel changed forever after that. So it's going to take.
I'm hoping that I can get him to do this. Like if one of your first 100 reviewers or viewers can get you to like change the way that you kind of think about like doing content. Like I'm hoping I can get him to make more content. That's my ultimate goal. Like I want to see him succeed in his knife business, but I think the content is going to be like the ultimate key factor to that.
Then out with him, show him. I literally
Oh, he
had
lives in Idaho. That's the downfall.
ah
I
ah.
had him on I had him on. He was like episode 7, I think.
I'm gonna go
But
back and watch
I
that
mean,
then.
he's not very tech savvy, but like, and that's his downfall, is that he's not tech savvy. He is book smart like no other. This guy could. He's the only guy that I think I can honestly say that could tell you whether or not he is for or against a cabinet that's in the office. He could tell you everybody in that cabinet.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean,
So I highly check.
Sorry,
Check him out if you don't mind.
Oh, I will. I will. And I will say this, and God is going to crucify me for it, but, Jay Cruz, I would love to have his hyperactive ability, like during a live and everything else. He's very talented at what he does.
He's so good.
Or even like Ken, yes, you croc-wearing freak, if you're watching it to this point, is amazing with what he does. He has that Kentucky drawl that I love joking with him. I'm like, whenever I can't sleep, I put in one of your videos. You're better than NyQuil. But he just delivers that in a way that it pulls you right in. Like with Dan, when he does videos with Sam, he brought something to the table nobody else did. Or Scuba, with the burping and the farting and the mom.
That's one guy you can't mock. Like it would be so hard because his is so like off the charts. It's like that burp wasn't built up for that video.
Yeah, it's just you've got to be you, and you've got to be unique, and you've got to bring something to the table. Even if you're reviewing something somebody else has 8 million times, what do you see in? I mean, like my wargaming channel, you want to talk about an oversaturated market. I just have fun with it.
I've never actually seen wargaming channel, like anything wargaming. I don't even know what it is.
It's kind of neat. It's the system that I use is it's called Games Workshop. Basically, you've got 2 armies on a board, and theoretically, the points costs are equal. So it's just who comes down to the best dice rolls. Because you can have the best figures, the best everything, but if the dice aren't in your favor, you're shit out
It's
of
kind
luck.
of like Risk or
Along those ways. But instead of a board, you have a big, huge table with scenery and painted miniatures and all kinds of fun stuff.
so it's like another level of like D&D type stuff.
Oh yeah.
Or is it like
Yeah.
okay.
Oh yeah. Well, of course, I have nothing around me right now that I can show you, but still.
Well, the only thing that I've ever like gotten into, I've just never been in that type of person. It's probably the ADHD thing. I can't just sit there and like go down this rabbit hole of like, I'm assuming this game takes a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I have to be doing something, and I think that's another thing. Like the whole podcast thing kind of slowed me down to where I've got to learn it as I go. Like I'm trying to learn something new as I go. So I've set more time aside to take time to learn a little bit of something that I want to achieve. Like I don't want to blow up by any means, because then it becomes a second job, and then I've got to give listeners or viewers something that's my paycheck at that point. Like I don't want to have a paycheck, and that's the downfall with that, because if you don't have a goal to grow, it's going to happen slowly, which I want, but I also want people to stay, I guess, listening. Like I don't want them to get bored, and that's not at all like something easy to learn. Like you can't learn that in a year or a day. It's going to have to go over 100, 200 videos, and the people that master that are the ones that accidentally do it usually.
One of the things that helped me the most, I saw this from one of those YouTube content creating channels. They put out a 30 and 30 challenge. 30 videos in 30 days.
Oh, that's Think Media. Usually,
I took that challenge. Number 1, it kicked my ass. But number 2, it got me out of so many different areas where now it's a flow. I can set up a camera and I can just go. Whereas before, I was so nervous about everything and so scared about everything. And I like what you say about slow growth. That's phenomenal, because we as content creators, God, how can I put it? We're narcissistic as all get out. We want people to watch us. We want people to tune into us and give us the likes, give us the love, give us the shares. But it's when you start focusing on stats, you lose the goal. So that's one of those that I get you, slow growth.
And I focus on stats. I just focus on like it's not the views and it's obviously not the followers because I'm not trying to necessarily get followers because the followers for me or the channel that the type of channel that I have is somebody who is listening to what I have or what my friends have to say, not just the content that I'm providing. So like you do reviews. So like interests are not only just you, but also what you're reviewing or what you're
Right.
doing in that video. With me, it's just, is my voice interesting enough? Am I talking about certain things? Like, I don't care about any of that, just as long as the ones who do or have that same type of thought process as I do, whether it be quirky or not, like, if they're getting enjoyment out of it, that's what I want. And my ultimate goal is just a comment that tells me, hey, like, I feel that too. Like, I've got, I think, a good number of, like, listeners and stuff like that on the whole channel, but the only thing is, like, you don't know how to tell somebody, tell me your thoughts about this. And not everybody even listens on YouTube. So that's another downfall.
Right.
So, I mean, that's why I don't think YouTube is for podcasting. I just put the videos out there because I think people still like that, I guess, watching type mentality. And I'm fine with that. I just don't know, like, what it is that is going to prevent me from saying, hey, I need to up my game and start reviewing stuff. I don't want to do that. And that's not my ultimate goal. So my
Then
numbers
honestly,
are.
don't, because if you don't want to do it and you do it, it's going to show.
I think it would be fun. It's not that I don't want to do it for that the views is what I'm saying. Like, I would review something if somebody wanted me to, or if I felt like it needed. Like, I reviewed sunflower seeds on my TikTok one time. Like, there's this weird sunflower seed line. I've got no problem doing that. It's I don't want to do it for the views for my podcast type stuff.
Right.
Like, it's a total different niche, is I guess what you could call it. But I mean, it is.
Morning
But
joke with
like
Ken.
my oh yeah, I get it. But like the niche thing, like if I'm a podcast and then I start reviewing stuff, am I getting the views for the podcasting or for the reviews? It's going to show on those videos, yes. But some of those people that watch my reviews might also listen to the podcast. Who knows?
Yeah.
Like, I think that could be misleading at times. So my goal right now is just to get interaction a little bit, just where I know that, like, who wants what do you want to hear about? I mean, that's really all it is. I don't have a plethora of everything that I know. I can tell you what I know about prison. I can tell you what I know about most football sports and stuff like that. But I don't know. That's why I think we need people such as yourself. Like, you have your way of doing things, and I think you can learn from a little bit of everybody.
Yeah, trust me. Like when I did knife reviews, I borrowed from a couple people. Like I said, for beard oil, I borrowed from a couple people. Find things you like and make it your way. It's going to take you a bit to find your footing. Seriously, anybody watching this, Creek Stewart's how to build a perfect bug out bag or something like that. My very first video. Very first. Go watch how horrible it is.
Have you ever thought about remaking it?
Mm-mm.
Or maybe doing a new one?
I may revisit it later on because I do have plans to come back to certain things. Like how well did this age? How well did this happen? But throughout the whole history of my channel, I've only ever pulled one video. Just one.
What's that? Or can you, I guess, elaborate?
Back when somebody was rampaging through the beard world, I made a video basically saying what the fuck with his name on it and called him out on stuff, and it caused problems. But after we squashed everything, I pulled the video because I didn't want anybody thinking we're still going back and forth and still creating drama. I pulled it out of respect for him.
Respectfully.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just like Jay Cruz, like, that's one guy you could probably go on any of his videos. He's not going to say one bad thing about anything that he does. Like, he doesn't know a lot either. Like, I think he's my age, but like, he didn't know that Dolly Parton was pronounced Dolly Pardon, I think is what I heard. How old do you think he is? I would guess 30.
29, 30. That's my guess.
but like his innocence in outside of where he lives, like he's known for that big city type. I guess has he always lived in, is it Jersey, like that area?
I don't know. I really don't. I've heard various different things, but it's one of those that he
Well, I'm
tells
gonna
me
find
he's
out because I got him on here. As I'm, like I said, I'm bulk recording. Like I'm trying to get at least two, maybe 2 to 5 people to where I can kind of release next year, because I want this podcast, the Recess Ruckus, to also have a
yeah.
little light also, but I focused a lot on the chubby buddies. But I've got you. I mean, you were the one that you said yes out of the. I think I sent like 3 or 4 people, and you were the first to. Well, Jay Cruz had already had his schedule, but we had to reschedule, and that's fine. But I mean, that's my ultimate goal, is just to at least get this one a little bit more light than Chubby Buddies. But Jay Cruz, like, I can't wait to have his, because I'm going to pick his brain about, has he always been that way? Because I don't think he has. I think that his it's his personality that I think brings people in. Like, he gets hyped. He's almost more of a DJ. He should call himself DJ Cruz.
That's why Ken sent him the DJ Khalid Pop Funko,
Oh,
because he keeps
I
making fun
didn't.
of him, going, "You guys are twins."
Oh, yeah. I mean, he could pass for DJ Khaled, or is that
Khalid,
what he said?
Khalid, whatever. To me,
Khalid,
DJ Khalid
yeah.
is the guy who punked out on First We Feast. So that's
I haven't seen that one, but he's a guy that sings like "All I Do Is Win." I think that's the
yeah.
only song I know by him. Yeah, but
But
Jay Cruz, I would say, is one of the fastest growing. He was one of the fastest growing beard game reviewers, just because of his like personality. Like, nobody had that type of hype.
his childlike innocence. I've always said it.
And he was a hype man. He's awesome at what he does. But I also think that he could be good at anything if he's reviewing it.
Yep,
Because he's going to give everything that he can to it.
that's how it should be. I mean, seriously, that's how it should be.
I mean, he quit his job just to. I think he's doing all full-time content creation now, right?
I honestly don't know.
That's crazy.
I've been focusing on different stuff in my life recently. Like
Yeah.
pulling back from some online areas that I used to get heavily involved in, and now spending
Right.
more time with my kids. Like before, I honestly would not miss a live feed. Oh, my little girl's in the bathroom puking. Oh, well, I'll clean it up when I'm done. Let's go live. Oh, well, there's this going on. Oh, well, I don't care. I'm going live. Now it's, oh, you need dad? Okay, I'll cancel tonight's live.
Yeah, and that's fine too. I think people respect that more than knowing that, oh, I missed out on my kids play or something like that. 100%. But I also noticed that you make sure that you're off in a timely manner to where you can go spend time for those Nerf gun wars that you have.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, that's another thing that, like, if you don't take time for something around you, it's going to burn you out real quick.
I seriously suffered burnout a couple months ago. I didn't want to produce content anymore because it became that I didn't have next week's videos done. Now I'm sweating it out. Then, okay, I'm not going to film today because I'm working myself up. Then the next day came, oh, I'm working myself up. So finally, I just took a break. I need to feel it again, And
Right.
the channel's going through kind of a rebirth. I never ever would have expected Snacktober to be as successful as it was. Seriously, I never would have.
Were your kids like excited about getting on camera with you also?
Yeah. The one thing that I've done,
but that also helps too.
The one thing that I've done is because of certain people and all the drama they created a while ago, I don't let my kids in front of the camera anymore. They're basically standing right behind the camera, so everything is, you can hear them clearly and everything, but they are heavily involved in everything. It's, hey, you want to do some science? And everyone comes running over. It's okay, take some. And they've even been like, all right, so what country do we want to do next? What can we plan for next year? And it's neat knowing people from around the world, because they're like, let me know what you need. I got you. So we've got weird stuff planned out. I never would have expected the Gordon Ramsay meals to be so interesting, or the Guy Fieri ones, that will troll doll cook. Don't ever buy those meals. Mm-mm.
I bought my wife one of those Gordon Ramsay ones, and it was one of the lasagna ones, I think. I mean, I'm not big into Gordon Ramsay himself. I do think he's funny, but
Yeah.
the like TV dinner is kind of like it's hard to really review. I would think like just because like what are you reviewing? Are you reviewing the quality or just hey, it's really not that bad for how much it costs? Like that would be like my concern about trying to review it. But obviously you're killing it because you said that you're having a good time with it, so it shouldn't matter.
Yeah, it's just trying to bring something different. Like, I'll admit, I go out and do the Monday morning quarterback, and like, say, if I just released a video on, I don't know, item A, I'll go look up item A and see what people do. Well, I found a guy doing a Gordon Ramsay review, and it was one of those, I left him a comment going, next time you review food, move the mic from your mouth. Because when you're hearing that, it's like, ew, really? Really?
That's how TikTok is for me. Like I'm on TikTok mainly because one, I caught COVID or whatever it was that I tested positive for. I don't even
Yeah.
know. I didn't have a side effect, but like I told myself for like the first 3 years that it was popular, I was like, I'm not getting that. I still to this day don't have Snapchat or any of that other stuff that people use, but I broke down and I watched TikTok, but like I go weeks without watching it. Mainly because there's like people on there. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but like there's people that go live like on the city street and like they'll do stupid like motions to get people to
Mm-hmm.
view and like their video.
I've
That is
heard
the
about
most
it.
dumb
I've never watched it. Yeah.
and Ken tried to explain it to me. Like I get what he was trying to say, but like I want no part of that. Like if you could hit a button like outside of the thumbs down, like get those people off of there. Like they shouldn't be making money doing that. Like that should be a separate button. Like go color or something.
What's really funny, there's an episode of The Commission where Jersey Joe was talking about it, and you can just see the vein in his forehead vibrating because he was so
There's
angry
a
about
ton
those
of them in his
guys.
area too. Like
Yeah.
you got and I ASMR is that what it's called? Where like they do all the clutter stuff with
Yep.
the mics. I'm assuming
Yep.
like
ASMR.
those drive me nuts too. Like some of the people on there, like you're like what like people will watch anything. So whatever you decide to make, good luck. I will
Just have
say
fun
that.
with it. A bar of soap. I literally watched a video of somebody cutting a bar of soap into these itty bitty
Oh,
little cubes, and it got like 2.5 billion views. I'm like, it's a bar of soap.
it's that aesthetic of watching things get cut or destroyed. Like that's another like niche is. This is what I'll say, and this is what you can say to Ken the next time you say it. Niche is another way of saying what's that term? What's your kink? That's all it
Okay,
is. It's
there you
just a
go.
PG
There
way
you
of
go.
saying kink. That's all it is.
I'm
Like,
getting
what's
used
your
to it.
kink? Oh, cutting soap. I'm gonna go cut some soap. I'm gonna fart in a jar and sell it.
Somebody
It's the
actually did that.
same thing.
There's a chick who
That's what
actually
I'm
did that.
saying. Like people are getting paid millions of dollars to fart in a Pringles can and send it to you.
There's women out there who did that, and I'm like, more power to the idiot who bought it.
I told my wife, I was like, hey, if somebody sent me a message tomorrow saying that they would pay me like $5,000 to fart in a Pringles can, you know I'm doing it, right? Or if you want a picture of my big toe, I'm gonna send it.
Thank you, Papa. Got to
I'm
pay bills. I
100%
don't
doing it.
care.
Like I will send you a picture of one of my toes if that's all you want. I'll send you extra pictures if you want them for $5,000.
Exactly, my brother.
A Pringles can with fart in it. I might mark it up a little bit. I mean, it's a little weird. It's going to be probably 5,500. I mean, we'll go fair with that one. But people will watch anything, 100%. And what's bizarre to me is that like inmates, like I work at the prison. Inmates will come up to me, and I don't know why they do this. They just come up to me and they'll tell me an idea that they have. I was like, "Yep, it's already been done." They're like, "No." I was like, 100%. It's 130% been done. You can't just come up with an idea anymore like that because it's not your idea. But like, if you think it's going to work, then good luck. He's like, when I get out, I'm going to do this. I was like, well, it's already been done, but okay. He's like, it hasn't been done. I was like, well, have your mom Google it.
Thank you. Or like I keep telling
It's
my
out there.
kids, there's no more original ideas for movies anymore. There's a brand new like Willy Wonka movie coming out. I'm like, come on, really, really?
I would actually watch this one because it's a prequel of how he got the actual. Like, I never read isn't there a book or something like that
Yeah.
about it? I've never read the book. It's just pretty much how he got the factory and all that, and how he got the Oompa Loompas and stuff like that. I think it looks pretty pretty decent for a, I
But
guess,
I mean,
another.
it's another spin on the same thing. Like, when's the next
Right.
Rambo movie gonna come out? You know,
Oh,
when's
I will tell you. I will tell you this though. I couldn't get into the first Rambo's. It just wasn't my thing. But the Rambo Last Blood had me feeling like John Wick, man. Like that was awesome.
speaking of Rambo, Rambo is a Christmas movie. If you look in the police
Rambo?
department, yeah, if you look in the
Oh,
police department when he's getting arrested, there's Christmas trees up.
I've never heard the argument for that. I don't think I've watched enough of the Rambo to even say that I've watched it. So if you
Watch-
ask me if I've watched Rambo, I've I've seen glimpses of it, but like I just couldn't get into that, I guess, type of Stallone movie. But
No, I
Rambo
get it.
Last Blood had me jacked. Like I was ready to go shoot some shit.
And like John Wick, I'm glad you mentioned that. There's rumor there's going to be a 5.
Yeah, they're already in the midst of they're filming it, I think now.
Yeah, I'm like, I knew he wasn't dead at the end. That's just his way to get away from the high table, his gravestone. You know?
Yeah, I love John Wick. Like, and
Dude,
it's
it's
not that it's
phenomenal.
original. It's like it's so simple. Like I don't know. Do you ever watch the Joe Rogan podcast or listen
Yes,
to it?
yes.
Okay. Did you listen or watch the one where he had the director of John Wick on?
No, but it's on my viewing for tonight.
You blew my mind. Like I couldn't believe how he came up with the idea for this. It was crazy. Like it's awesome. You'll enjoy it. I won't spoil it. I enjoyed it.
No spoilers.
But
No spoilers.
but John Wick itself is so simple. If you think about it, it's so simple and like it's just like you in your games, like the tabletop game.
Yeah.
Imagine you playing this in like one good, I guess, round or whatever it is that you call it, and you have a good round and it's so memorable. Like you could turn this into a movie, and like if you have all the skills and stuff like that, or like the writing skills and everything, you could turn anything you want into a movie. But John Wick is so simple. It's stupid how simple it is, but like it's just what Keanu Reeves brings to it. If it wasn't for Keanu Reeves, I don't think John Wick would have been as popular.
I think it's also the training that Keanu put in, because Keanu was doing 3-gun training a lot in preparation for that
3-gun
movie.
training, concealed to carry training. He was going on 9 hours a day for like 9 months.
Yeah.
Concealed to carry, like concealed gun training. And that, like, granted, not a lot of people show the behind the scenes buildup of stuff like that. John Wick, I think it kind of shined light on a topic that people weren't wanting to talk about back then, obviously. But when they saw him do it, everybody wanted to be John Wick, whether or not you were left or you were right or you were in the middle.
Yep.
I mean, you could be the farthest left person, and if you don't like John Wick, then that is surprising to me because everybody loves John Wick.
I mean, throughout all 4 of those movies, the most memorable scene in there for me was when, what was it, Vigo, the Russian gangster, calls up, the auto shop. He's like, "You slapped my son. May I ask why?" And he's like, "He stole John Wick's car." Oh. He just hangs up the phone.
And then he just hangs up.
Yeah, I'm like, one of the deadliest gangsters on the planet knows what's coming.
It's crazy. He's dead now. Did you know that? The guy that played him?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he passed away like during COVID, I think. Bizarre. Granted, he died in the first movie, spoiler alert, but if you haven't seen it, then I mean you deserve it. So
If you haven't seen it, what's wrong with you? That's un-American.
Yeah. So if you had an order for John Wick, I've got my order. It is John Wick 1 because you need one to have any of them. I will always firmly believe that. John Wick 1, John Wick 4, 3, and then 2. I think 2 is just a little too slow for me, and a lot of people didn't like it because there was no cars in it.
Hold on. Wait, 3 was the one that had the dogs and...
Yeah, with Halle Berry.
Okay. Yeah, I'll agree with you on the order,
1,
because
4,
I love 1.
1,
You
4,
need
3,
the
2.
backstory. 4 was just phenomenal. Even though...
So well filmed.
Even though you sit and you go, was he really blind? How blind was he? Because you have the blind hitman who just is flawless in everything. And especially Halle Berry and the dogs.
Oh, did you see? Okay, I'm not going to spoil that. I'll let you listen to the podcast. I won't talk about that on here. That's not fair.
All right,
I'll let you listen to it whenever you listen to it.
Bring up your next question. I know you got another one. Come on.
Oh, yeah, well, I do want to highlight one more thing from John Wick 4 since you've seen that one.
Yeah.
The overlook of when he goes through that apartment building or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah!
The video. like I'm not into those first. I don't even know what type of view that is. It's like
But that
Zelda almost, but like,
cinematography for the whole roving fight and oh my god.
and he's shooting out like what are those bullets called again? The shotgun shells. They were like dragon's breath.
Dragon's fire or dragon's breath, something like that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, one of the best scenes I've ever seen in a movie, and it's the fakest stuff you'll ever see. Like, it's crazy.
You do know those rounds exist, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm saying like I also know that it's a movie, but like it's still it amazes me on the smallest things in a movie that can make it just that much better. Like nobody expected that the camera just to shift up and then pan up and then just follow him through.
Agreed. Agreed.
Nobody expected that. And that nobody would expect it for John Wick because everything with John Wick is always up close battle. Like it's grappling or it's judo of some sort, whatever it
Right.
is that martial art it is that he uses. But that's what made that movie, I think, my number 2. Number 3 for me was obviously Halle Berry and also the dog
The
the
dogs.
dog training that she went through. That was
Yeah.
so crazy.
Hands down the dogs. Oh my god, the dogs were phenomenal. Seriously, they really, really were.
I just appreciate a long story like that you could take John Wick anywhere you want with it.
Yep.
It really should have been a mini series. Like if you think about it, like they could have killed it with a mini series
They
and like
did
went
have
on
one.
for
You
like
saw the
20
Continental,
seasons.
right?
I haven't seen the Continental, but I'm saying with Keanu, like
Oh, okay.
you could have made something turn into like Breaking Bad with just like John Wick. It could have been just I would have watched. I wouldn't have missed one episode.
Agree. Agree.
But yeah, but no, I mean, I don't really necessarily have questions. I was just kind of want to pick your brain just to kind of enlighten if anybody's listening that wants to start content creation. But like, what is your, I guess, what is it that you're most proud of about your content across the board? Like, what is it you personally would say either if somebody was watching either stands out to them, or what is it that you take more pride in from what you've achieved
I
most?
think the thing I'm most proud of, and it's funny you mention that because I've been thinking about this lately when I'm going back and looking over the history of my channel, going, do I want to keep moving forward in 2024? Because I've been doing this for a while and I love it, but it's the interaction with people, how I've touched certain things with certain people. I've had single moms reach out and go, "You're amazing. I wish I could find somebody like you," with my step parent vlogs. The interaction I've had with owners. Johnny Slicks, I'm going to bring him up. I've been rocking with him since he started on day one.
You
I
talk a lot about him. I've still never tried his product though. Sorry.
We'll make sure you get hooked up. Okay. We'll make sure you get hooked up.
No big deal.
But no, it's that interaction with him that I've watched his company grow. And I've been there with him from day one. Like when he does his here's the history, and I'm like, I remember this like it was yesterday. And I get him on my live feed. Here is a multi-millionaire. All right, here's a guy who started selling plasma to fund like his containers and everything. They were so broke, him and his wife, they lost everything. And now they're multi-millionaires. And getting them on my show, and it's like, all right, fucker, let's rip this goddamn Band-Aid off and have fun. And here's a multi-millionaire going, all right, let's do it. He has a great relationship with the cuteness factor. It's just those little relationships that are built. And it's weird to think that first day I picked up my iPad and filmed that video, not thinking anything would go anywhere, and watching where it's gone. It hasn't been easy. It hasn't been hard. But the one thing I can also say is I've stayed true to who I am. I haven't sold any of my values out, my honor, my integrity. I've never put out a false review. And for the record, for anybody watching this, I've never been paid for a review. I buy 99.9999% of all of my product. It's really rare when a company goes, we would like to send you something. So it's just that. It's the relationships I've developed and just that whole journey. And it's just weird to look back and go, when I picked up that iPad, I never expected this ever. I really never did.
I think it's always better though that way. Like you appreciate it more.
Yeah, I mean, I
Kind of like,
make God, I make this joke. My first 100 subscribers were harder to get than my first 1,000 because
I mean, I can understand that 100%.
yeah, because once you start finding your footing, your tribe will find you. It's amazing how much help I had in the beginning, just from people in the comments section not being idiots, going, "We like this, try this. Hey, we think you're doing great, but try this little bit." You know, in my live feed chats, there's a guy, Chris Rayner. He's one of my first 100. I think he's like one of the first 20, to be honest. I've known him for a long time. He sent me a very expensive folding blade because he won another one that he already had, because I talked about in my original videos, I'll never be able to afford this. And he hooked me up.
Dang.
Yeah. And it's one of those, dude, what? You know? I've also returned the favor to him, helping spread the GoFundMe for his kids' surgeries, because he's got 2 little kids that were losing their eyesight. So, yeah, as a father, yeah, but it's that interaction with people, you know? And that's, God, it's hard to describe.
It's funny you bring that up too, because like I never thought that, like, and I'm not trying to steal away from you, but like you do, as a, whether you make small content or if it's blowing up, like you're gonna meet people and do things that you never expected you would ever do. And for an example, kind of like you, like one of the guys, like we got a sponsor on the Chubby Buddies podcast on the day that we released our first episode. And granted, it is a local like beef jerky company,
Still,
but also shortly after that, one of my other best friends started a wrestling. I don't even know how you put it. It's a wrestling company, but it's not like a federation or anything like that.
Right,
It's one of the independent wrestlings here in Kansas. He asked me if I wanted to be an announcer. Like I've never in my life, like I don't hear my voice and say, "Oh, that's Bruce Buffer" or "That's Michael Buffer." Like I've never once thought that, but I also never would say that I would turn something down like that. So I've been doing that, believe it or not. I've been announcing at all of his wrestling shows, and it's crazy. It's awesome to get some. Have you ever been to a live wrestling show?
Yes.
Like for indie wrestling?
Yes.
I've never thought that I would ever get jacked by a crowd like that. Like I get jacked. Like
it has a much different vibe than like a WWE house show or a big company house show. The indies,
right?
Hardcore fans.
Oh man, like, and I appreciate wrestling. I appreciate it. I never thought that I would be doing this, but when you get like when somebody hands you a mic, I thought I would be too scared, but like I was just like, you know what, screw it. So I mean, I had fun with it, but now I'm coming up with my own little like things to say like throughout the thing. But I also get information from wrestlers what they want me to say. But like you said, like I know more people now like that I never thought that I would ever like enjoy to be in their presence, just by somebody reaching out. Hey, since you do this, you want to try doing this?
Dude, one of my closest friends on the planet I've never met, Jersey Joe. I've never met him face to face. My huge relationship with him started with me making fun of one of his videos. Because when he got really nervous about stuff, he'd go,
oh, yeah.
A lot. So I left a comment in his video. I was like, every time you go, I'm taking a shot. Him and his brother in the next video went, we're going to address this right now. And said, for 3 minutes straight.
Did you drink?
Oh, yeah.
How many shots?
Enough.
Was that the night that you went on that live feed afterwards?
Yeah, I'm just saying it was enough, but that's how my relationship with him started. Or just I don't know if you've ever heard of the company Combat Flip Flops.
I don't think so.
They went on Shark Tank and they scored a heck of a deal. But just via social media and everything else, I have the CEO's phone number in my damn phone. I've got a great relationship with them just by being who I am. You know,
That's cool.
I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I honestly don't care anymore. I'm going to be who I am. But it's that whole journey, and it's really weird just from picking up an iPad.
I mean, Ken used to say it, but he stopped saying it. You just hit record.
Yeah.
I think he stopped saying it because it's the tagline of that other like content creation channel that's pretty big.
Yeah, but I mean, it is that simple. If you want to review a pencil, review a pencil. If you want to review a watercolor kit that you got from Walmart, do it. Don't let anybody tell you you can't do it. I'm not going to lie, whoever's watching this, if you want to create content, you're going to have people who are going to pick on you for everything. I've had people who have
100%.
shredded me because, well, I have DVDs in my background. I have, Justice League Matchbox cars. I've got Star Wars figures. I don't care.
You mean like Seinfeld DVDs, or because that's what I
Now,
got.
like a lot of
That's
these
what's
are
cool about this camera. Watch this. Like I'm using my digital thing.
nice.
That's what's cool about this camera. I don't know why I jumped on it. It's pretty dope though.
Yeah, but like this whole
Christmas
row
gift.
right here is Boston Red Sox DVDs.
Boston Red Sox. I didn't even know you were a baseball fan.
Oh, God, yeah. When you grow up
I'm a
in New
Cubs
England,
fan.
you kind of have to be.
Oh, you grew up in New England. That's cool.
That's where I spent most of my formative years until I joined the military right out of high school.
So you could have met. Well, I guess he wouldn't have been born yet because he's my age. Jersey Joe.
No, I love laughing with him. It seems that like we've run around some of the same areas at certain points, and I've just never met him. But I am planning on
Is there a
rectifying that
goal to
soon.
ever hook up and meet with him?
What's that?
Do you have a goal to meet him?
Oh, yes,
like
yes.
somewhere in the future?
Oh, God.
Share a beer, or I don't know if he drinks, but
Oh, no, we're going to sit down and I'm going to get him drunk. And not on White Claw sipping.
he drinks White Claw.
He did. He did.
He did.
He was really, really broke and drank one on a live feed, and I've been hammering him mercilessly ever since.
I've never had a White Claw. I've tried. Is it just a seltzer, right?
Yep.
I've tried. What's Dave Portnoy's thing that he has? Whatever, the High Noons or whatever. They're pretty good.
Yeah,
But
White
I've
Claw
never
is
had
like
a White Claw.
drinking static from your TV. It's horrible.
Never tried.
Yeah, but no,
Like carbonated water.
pretty much with some alcoholic taste and bad flavoring. I also have a goal to
I
get
love
out
a good
to.
whiskey. Like I'll sip on that.
Oh yeah, I also have a goal this year
Over
to get out and meet Beard of the North Dan out in Minnesota. Love that guy.
I wish I could get on those more. The commission, like I enjoyed that just because it was just like this. It was just hanging out, banter, conversation. Like there was no agenda at hand. Like and that's where I was wanting to go with this. I didn't want you to think that it like everybody interviews somebody on the lives and they ask those questions like, does pineapple belong on pizza? I mean, my ultimate goal is to, I guess, show my appreciation and celebrate the person that I'm talking about. So I want to show that I'm interested in what it is that they have to say without taking away from what their ultimate goal is to be on here. So like with you, like you said, you're not gonna hold back. I wasn't ever gonna be afraid of you holding back by any means. So like you could have said that anything and I probably wouldn't have edited it out either. So, but
No.
like I appreciate what people bring to the table, and that's why I asked him on it. I mean, Dan's been on here, and I appreciate him just because of how like we enjoy MMA. So we used to send messages back and forth about MMA. Like I don't know if you watch MMA or not, but like you have this way about you of involving everybody, and that's what I like to highlight something about that person too. Like you have a way to show that, I hear what you're saying, and I'm going to involve you in this without if it's something dumb that they might have a thought of, like you're not going to point that out, but you will let them get their point across. And that's what people also need to like also pay attention to. Like you need to let those people say something, because if they don't hear it come from their mouth, then it might not register with them that what they're saying is not necessarily right or wrong, but it's not necessarily the right way, but it's also not the wrong way, if that makes sense.
Right. No, I agree with you. I how can I put it? I hate when you watch a live and like the host is trying to get the person to talk and you get like, so what's your favorite color? That's a good question. And I'm like,
Blue. I don't know.
You're like, speak, you moron, just speak,
Whatever you want to talk. Like that's how it should be. Like a live, it should be like whatever comes to mind, as long as it's not going to like jeopardize like the YouTube taking it down. Just
Yeah,
talk about stuff. Like it's that simple. Like I wasn't afraid to come on your channel. I just have never been asked to come on, and when you asked, I said sure. I'll come on. And like
you did look a
I
little
don't know if you
nervous.
remember this, but like, huh?
You did look a little
What's that?
nervous.
I just had never been on, so I didn't know how to like really set up or anything like that. And then when you look back at like how you were sitting, it's like, oh, I could have like sat farther back because I didn't want to like not be at a camera,
Yeah.
or be away from my mics where you couldn't hear me. So I was kind of like hunched down. I think in that video, I was like, oh, I could have relaxed a little bit more. But like when Billy was kind of like, you asked a question about like the some stuff about the prison, and he didn't feel comfortable about talking about it. But like, there's a way to say stuff without making it sound like you're not talking serious about it. Like you brought up the whole prison rape thing, like,
Right.
and he
Right.
was like, "Oh, I don't want to get into that." Like, there's a way that you can discuss that. Like, and I think I said like, if you could think about anything that happens in the real world, it's happening in a prison. Like,
Right.
it's real. Like, there's no, it's not in the darks and shadows, but it's happening. So there's a way you can talk about it. But like you, and that's what I wanted to point out. Like you allow the things to like get said because people need to hear themselves say it, because it's not you pointing out what they said didn't sound right, or it wasn't right or wrong, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. And
So
one of the biggest things that I've learned from my lives, and you're kind of doing it here, it's got to be more of a free flow, because if you know going in that's going to be basically a question and answer session, it gets kind of boring. Whenever I have a live, I have a general idea of what I'd like to talk about. Some of my most exciting lives, I'll be honest, is when Johnny Slicks is on, because I've got such a good rapport with him. I can hit him with anything. I seriously asked a multimillionaire, "You're the only asshole I know who can do a ad campaign that goes, 'Your balls are shrinking.'" Because he has one like that. And we laughed and
I've never
joked
seen
about
an
it.
ad from him either. I'm gonna have
Go,
to look this up because I know that you talk, like you've reviewed a lot of his product, but like I've just never like went down that I guess Johnny Slick's website, or I don't even know if I follow him or if he follows everybody back, doesn't he, on
pretty much. Yeah,
Instagram
yeah.
maybe?
If you follow
I
him,
don't
you're
know
going
if
to
I
get a
follow
follow
him or not.
back. But it's that you got to have that back and forth, because I love it. And sometimes I may want to talk about something, but like you had said, when a person's saying something like, "Oh, we're going this way now," you know, it brings it up, and you never know what you're going to get. And sometimes it's a really memorable experience.
Mm-hmm.
Other times I had one person on, I'm not going to mention his name. It's the first time I ever killed a live right at an hour mark. I was so thankful to get him gone.
Was I there?
No, this is way
Oh,
before
okay.
your time, brother. And what
Okay.
was
Well,
really funny is Jersey Joe called me seconds after I killed the live. He goes, "I'm surprised you lasted that long." I'm like, "God, I need a beer."
I've been lucky, but that's the other positive side of this, is that it's not live. So if I don't like it, I just don't have to post it to YouTube or whatever. But like I try to choose the people that like I know that I'm going to have a decent conversation with, or we're going to have some of the same interests. But like my ultimate goal from the get go is to connect with people and celebrate the like not just their achievements, but also like what I enjoy about them.
Right.
And whatever somebody wants to take from that, they can take from that whatever they want. But like I'm celebrating what I find interesting. Like that's the benefit of having your own channel. Like I don't have somebody telling me in my ear that I can't say something. Like just say what you want to say. Like I've got no problem with, if you don't like Crocs, talk crap about Crocs.
Oh, I
That's all
do.
right.
Trust me, I do. I love sending Ken these like vicious croc memes. And like, there you go, boy. Like I sent him one the other day. It was like, oh God, what was it?
You
Doc
can see the
Martens.
Spurs.
Doc
Do you see the
Martens made into
Spurs that people are buying?
Spurs.
Doc Martin made a Croc. Yeah, you
Well,
can get Spurs for the back of a Croc now.
no, but I gotta find that. Show it to Ken. Yeah, but it was a Doc Martin made into a croc, and I sent it to
Oh
Ken and went, "If
gosh.
I have to see it, you've got to see it." And he responds back
Mm.
quickly, "I would wear that right away." I'm like, "Oh God, I hate you." He even one
I
time
don't
on,
like the way that it sounds when you walk in it. Like it sounds like you're farting as you're walking if you don't have socks on.
Dude,
Like I've never had Crocs, but I've had like a rubber shoe.
yeah.
It's uncomfortable. It can't
Dude,
be that comfortable.
that jerk, even when he was on vacation and there was a Croc outlet store, sent me photos from inside the store going, I'm thinking of you.
Oh man.
It's you got to have that fun. You got to have that back and forth, you know?
Crocs. If you like Crocs, by all means buy them. I mean, but if I see something on you that like I find funny, I mean I try to point out or I try to be funny in the lives a lot.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to have a good time if you're not having fun or if they're not having fun. But like I think that's the benefit of having a live is that you're getting humor brought into the chat. Like you sort of need that on a live.
Yep.
And if there's no humor in there, then you're going to lose a lot of like people watching pretty quick. Especially if it's not like if it's pretty cold and gray. It's like, hey, I want to talk about this. It's like, whoa, that's a touchy subject.
Yeah, but sometimes, and it was funny, you brought up LaFleur and Company.
Mhm.
Sometimes in the middle of a live, something that goes dark can change the history of your channel forever. Like Gary LaFleur was the first one who ever opened up on my channel about mental health. And he changed everything on my channel. He just said, hey, I want to talk about this. I'm like, all right, floor's yours. And he talked about where he was going dark and how he was thinking about ending his life and other stuff. And I was like, holy fuck. You're opening up to me on my channel. I had another company owner. they're no longer in business. Him and his wife were on. And in the middle of talking, he just goes, hey, I was abused sexually as a child. And I'm like, huh? But it's weird to have that ability to have people go dark and you can help turn it and use it as an example for some people, you know? And that's why I love lives at points, because you never know what's going to happen. You never ever
It's almost
know.
like Jerry Springer. Like it's Jerry Springer live. Like, I mean, granted, there's no like baby mama drama, but like it could get that way. I'm sure. I think it would be funny to like be sitting there on a live and like some dude just come in and get his ass beat by his wife because he's like it didn't take the trash out. That would be awesome.
You almost had that on the commission one night.
Oh wow!
Becky
For
and
you?
Dan.
Did you
No.
forget to take out the trash?
No, God, no. Are you kidding? I do my chores. I'm a smart man. I like living inside and owning things, okay?
Oh, I hear you.
Yeah. Every married guy knows exactly what I just said.
But no, man. Like I want to say thank you for coming on. I mean, I don't want to like necessarily cut you out if you wanted to say something. So the floor is yours. If you want to shoot out all your content or your channels, your YouTube, your Instagram, your IG.
First of all, I just want to thank you for having me on. Seriously, it's an honor. Simply because when you get invited on someone's channel, they want you there for a reason. And it's been a cool, couple hours sitting and talking with you and just shooting the shit and doing things. You can find me, like it says, right down here on TCTBNL, basically everywhere on social media. That's me. If you send me a message, I don't get back to you right away. Sorry, I'll get to you as soon as I, quickly can. I usually have content that drops Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and a live feed, hopefully every Tuesday. But I will say it here. I'm going to drop a video Monday explaining it a little bit more. For the last 2 weeks of this year, content's going to be a little spotty because I'm dedicating it more to family over these next 2 weeks. If you want to create content, do it. Just do it. Shoot what you want to shoot. Film with whatever you want to film on. Seriously. I filmed on an iPad. You can do it. Believe in yourself. And that's the huge key. Don't fall into imposter syndrome. Don't sit and go, well, I don't have a $20 million camera. I don't have a studio. I don't have a great sound system. I don't have, a soundboard. Just shoot. That's the best advice I can give you is shoot. You'll find your footing. You'll find your voice. You'll build your channel. You'll build your brand, and you build your rep. Your tribe will find you.
And don't forget to check out the commission because I've had great time on there. I just haven't been able to come on in a while just because.
Well, we're on we're on hiatus right now with Real Life with two of our cast members. So we will be back at some point, hopefully. But right now we're on hiatus.
Okay. Well, yeah, but go back and watch all their old stuff. Is it on Jersey Joe's channel, right?
Yep, Jersey Joe 9. Yeah, Jersey Joe. I think it's 973 or something like that. But Jersey Joe, go look him up. You'll find him.
I'll tag it in the comments for sure. So, but no, before you go, I'll talk to you afterwards. But I appreciate you coming on, and we'll have to do it again. I'm trying to do like a 6-month catch up,
Sure.
and just to see where people are at. And I think just like how you used, I don't know if you still end your lives this way, but like you just tell somebody to call somebody or text somebody, and that's really kind of like what this is. It's almost like a check in, like every day or every episode on the Chubby Buddies we do at the very beginning. We check in with each other, see how our week was or whatever it is. So, but I appreciate you coming on, man.
Like I said, I'm honored. Really, I am.
Well, we will have you on again, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Whenever you want me, I'll be here.
All right, man. All right, man. We'll see you later.